and welcome to episode 5 of Tara Time. I can't believe we're on episode 5 already. Every week I am bringing wonderful guests to you to talk about all things business, all things leadership, and self-indulgently all things Tara. This week I am welcoming a wonderful human being who I met last year on the internet, and I am all for meeting strangers on the internet after this encounter. Jess is, I'll let her do a full introduction to herself when she comes on, but Jess and I met in a mastermind, and we have been doing wonderful things together ever since. So I'm going to add her in now and let her introduce herself. Hello, Jess.
I was vibing to that music just before.
Hello,
Did you see me?
Yeah, we were both full dancing to the little intro before we came on.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jess. I am a fitness and mindset coach, and I help women through training, nutrition, and mindset coaching holistically to feel their most empowered, strongest, best self.
Amazing. And Jess is helping me doing that at the moment, and we have many different relationships. And I wrote this in the post where I shared when we were coming on about all of the things that we do together. So Jess is my coach. I am Jess's coach. We are business partners. We are business besties. We are all of the things. Mm-hmm. So, actually, the first thing that I said about what we were going to talk about today was about meeting strangers on the internet, and I don't think there's a better place to start than that. Yeah. So, like I mentioned, Jess and I met on a mastermind. Like, when did we start?
May.
Last May, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it, last May. And so we were with the wonderful Samantha Hearn, who is going to be a guest on here in the future as well. Mm-hmm. And we were inside a coaching mastermind together. And if you haven't ever been inside a group coaching program or a mastermind, one, you're missing out because they're fucking amazing. But you'll if you have been, you'll know that you'll usually find the people that you get on really well with, and Jess and I were just that. So yeah, it was we all love at first sight, and we just got on and kind of built a relationship during that mastermind. Thoughts? Want to share anything on that?
No, I think that you pretty much said it all. I loved it. Like, I think you definitely feel who you vibe with, and we took that opportunity to make it into something really cool. Because we're both pretty similar mindset wise, and we're both striving to be like learn every day, be better every day. We're coaching. What do we call ourselves? Coach junkies.
Coach junkies, coach guzzlers.
Yeah, exactly. So we got on right away. So yeah, it was fun, and now we're still here, and nearly a year later.
Yeah, and I think just on that, like, if you do get the opportunity to do a group coaching program, like, so many people think that one-to-one is the best thing to do in coaching, and it's great. But sometimes a group it's a totally different experience, and sometimes group is what you need, and it's so much better, and you get so much more out of it, and you learn so much from it. So I think I would really encourage people, if they get the opportunity to do a group coaching program, to do it, because it's just.
I would as well. I just joined something really low, like. It was a €30 challenge for March, and I've just joined it. And there's so many amazing women in there who are in similar mindsets, who are doing similar things, who you can inspire, and they inspire you. Like, the energy in there is so good, and that's what I love about the group setting as well. Is that you can vibe off each other, you can feed off each other's energy. Yeah. It's not the same as one-to-one, but in a better way.
Yeah, and I think when you're in a place with people who are invested as well, like they're all they're already in the same mindset.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think making the most of it, like you said, we really made the most of it, in terms of we went from, like you say, just two strangers from across the world, and it was like, okay, what can we do together? There's something good here. What is it that we can do together? And we started just going live on Instagram together and sharing stuff together. Yeah. just kind of progressed. And one of the things I do want to talk about is the birth of Vida Femme.
Mm-hmm.
But before we do that, I think it would be really, really useful to dig a little bit into what you do, because it's so relevant for so many of my clients and it comes up all the time. And it is one of the reasons that Vida Femme, our business together, was birthed, because, you know, everybody wants to look at their whole life. But for me personally, you have opened my eyes to many things, specifically women's health, women's hormones, all of that kind of stuff. And like, you know, you say you're a fitness and mindset coach, but I always think that somewhat does you an injustice, because you're so much more than that, and you have like so much knowledge on things that I've worked with fitness coaches before, but so much knowledge that has really changed my perspective and has changed the way I function and do things.
Yeah.
So I think if you could share a little bit about how you got into, one, being so freaking knowledgeable about women's health and what we can do and your journey with it and why you do it and why it's so important. I would love for you just to riff off and talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, sure. And I'm glad I've had a good impression, or not a good impression, but good, what's the word? Impact on you. Yeah. So I guess I started, like many personal trainers do, just doing the fitness side of things. And to be a personal trainer in Germany anyway, you only need very basic certifications, and they don't teach you much in-depth stuff. And I always found it a bit frustrating, because I wanted to learn it a bit more in depth about how the body works and how we move and how we feel. And so I did a lot of certifications on my own as well, just because it was super interesting. And I found a lot of the time with my clients, I couldn't answer certain questions. So I've always been really in the mindset of needing to grow and doing more certifications and coaching. I never stop, really, because I love it. But I got to a point where just movement wasn't enough for my clients. It needed to also be looking at the mindset side of things. And then I think there was a big movement into looking more at female hormones and how that we cannot train as men train. And someone training us, like, say if we have a male trainer, a personal trainer or a coach, and he trains us, like, he can understand the physiology, but it's just so difficult to understand if you're not a female. So I think I wanted to dive way more into that, because I get it. I understand it. I've suffered with PMDD. I've also, because of that probably as well, big part, I've suffered with some depression. And so all of these things put together, I wanted to help my clients even more, because I felt like my clients were also going through similar things. And like I said, from a male perspective, they can only understand so much. And from the female side of things, it's just so, if you can help a woman empower herself through getting to know her body better, that is so incredible, because instead of thinking that your body is constantly against you, you're actually working with your body and you feel like a new woman. So that's why I've kind of gone into like holistic side of things, mindset, nutrition, and training.
Yeah. And that, I just want to dig into that a little bit, because that is one of the areas that you've helped me and that I'm working on at the minute. But even from last month to this month, so I have also been struggling with my period, with my cycle, irregular, uncomfortable, like beyond uncomfortable, painful, too long, causing me all sorts of disruption to my life, to my business, and pissed off and angry with it. That's probably how I came to you, right? Pissed off and angry with it. And that, like you say, hating on it is the place to be. And like, to explain like how I was. And I am still working through that. Yeah. But to realize, like last month, you set me off with some exercises and some rituals and some all sorts of wonderful things to try and tune into what is good. And, you know, it's interesting because I'm obsessed with the mind. I'm obsessed as a coach. I'm always telling people to tap into the power of their mindset and how important that is from a professional perspective. Yeah, I've never made the link about doing that from like a health, or especially from a hormone perspective or a health perspective.
Yeah.
And so like that's the space that I'm in now. Like I am absolutely determined for it not to make me feel angry anymore, for me not to be frustrated by what's happening to me, and try and take some control. And I think the things that we've done together is like even the small things about thinking about what you can eat to impact your hormones and your cycle, even if it doesn't actually do the act of doing something that you think is taking control of it, even like, and all the science is there and all of that to, to demonstrate how it works. But even without that, it's like the act of doing something that's in your control.
Yeah, exactly. And that's powerful. And I think very often I heard this the other day and I love this analogy. We are slow cooker bodies in a microwave world. Like we want our body, I love it. Like it literally says, because we want to see changes in like 1 or 2 months. But if you have hormone imbalances, it's going to take not even 3 months, it's going to take 6 months to a year, to maybe even beyond that, to really, really nourish your body again and give it what it needs to be regular again. Again, our bodies are cyclical, so it's not like we can change from one day to the next. It's also going to take a whole month or 3 months to see anything that's happening. So, taking a step back and giving yourself time as well, rather than feeling like it's out of your control in that respect, is also a big part of it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that just on the whole, like holistic and women's health topic, the other thing for me that's been really useful and been really powerful is that, like you say, that mindset work. And I think was it last week or the week before, we did a really, really powerful like visualization exercise together, which typically, if you're hiring a personal trainer, is not something that you're going to expect or get, right? And that's the difference. And that kind of, I freaking love that shit. It was really, really powerful for me, really useful for me. And so I suppose it's just for me to encourage like anybody who, and I think you say this, the people who feel like, oh, I've tried it all. Oh, I've tried it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you've tried personal training before, but if you can tie that in with the mindset work, with the nutrition work, with the holistic health work, it's so much more powerful. And it's empowering is the word.
Yeah.
And you used it at the beginning.
Well, I feel like if you're not adding in mindset work, you're essentially missing a massive part of the puzzle, because your body cannot be, the mind and the body are so interlinked that you can't treat your body or heal your body or do anything with your body if your mind isn't involved. And that's why I think often we see these yo-yo diets and we lose some weight and then put it back on, because we haven't done anything with our mind. We've just done the actions that we think we need to do, and we've kept that going for a while, but we've done nothing up here. So it's like, okay, now I've got this body and these new habits, but who am I? And am I going to keep this going? Or am I going to be who I used to be again? And that's how it sort of creeps in again, and we put the weight on again. So that's why it's so important to address the mind as well as the body. And I think a lot of women also come to me not wanting to do any of the mindset work because they don't get it. It's not been taught, and I understand that. And then they try a couple of things with me and they're like, oh wow, that's actually doing so much for me and my mental health, because your physical health is part of it, right? Your mental health is a big part of it as well.
Yeah. But I think actually, I bet most of the women who come to you, they'll do professional personal development work. I bet they do it there. And like I say, I hadn't made the same link, right? So it's not like we've not been exposed to it. It's just we've not been exposed to it in that forum, because we're doing it, they'll be doing the things, to the mindset work to overcome imposter syndrome at work.
Yeah.
They'll be doing that shit, and that's normal to them, and that's the thing that they've been told that they need to do, and they get it in that forum, but they just don't get it when it comes to health and fitness and all of that kind of stuff. All right, I'm not quite ready to move on from this topic because I think generally, like, the premise of Tara Time is that it is a really, relaxed chat. It's to dig into things, but I think there's a piece of value here that I would like to give anybody that is watching, and that is specifically, and it's just so prevalent for me, specifically around, it's coming up on my feeds everywhere at the minute as well, which is not surprising, around if you are struggling with your cycle, if you are struggling with your menstrual cycle, and whether that is the struggles are just, getting into work when you're in absolute pain, keeping up your fitness stuff when you're feeling like crap, or just it impacts so much of your life. And I'm going to put you on the spot now, but I'm sure you're going to be able to answer it. What nuggets of information would you give somebody to take away immediately if they're struggling? And I know it's quite broad to say if you're struggling with your cycle, because there's so many different things that could be going on. But what would you tell people to do right away?
One thing that I think we always miss, and I think a lot of people have a lot of shame, or it's a taboo topic, is like tapping into your pelvic floor, your womb, your hips, your pelvis area, your vagina, and tapping into it and listening to what it has to say. I know that sounds crazy, but but honestly, doing a meditation, maybe where you put your hands on your womb, or where you're sitting there and you just breathe deep into your pelvic floor. And a lot of people don't know this, but you've got a diaphragm in your abdomen, and you've got a diaphragm in the pelvic floor as well, and they're meant to move together. And a lot of people's diaphragms don't move. They have a complete disconnect. And because there's a lot of guilt, shame, or what we don't talk about, because it is a taboo topic, they have a lot of disconnect with that area, and they don't even know how they feel, what's going on. And sometimes when you can breathe down into that and feel a little bit more, okay, how am I feeling? Am I stressed? Am I tight? Am I relaxed? That makes such a big difference on the rest of your body. So one is getting in touch with your womb, with your pelvic floor, and seeing how you feel. There's many meditations you can do if you look online for womb healing, those kind of things. Number two is well, your hormones. The question was about hormones, right? If you're feeling stressed about your cycle, then obviously one massive thing is tracking. If you're not tracking, I would definitely go into tracking.
So on that note, that is what I'm going to share actually. So again, I wasn't tracking anything. I knew it was ridiculously irregular, but I wasn't really tracking anything properly. Like, now I've been able to pinpoint like the times that I'm likely to have a hormonal migraine. Like, I can now pretty much predict that. And that's only like this, as of this month, I've just seen the trend, right? I can so now, like this month, I was delivering a course and I had to cancel it because I had the worst migraine. And when I have a hormonal migraine like that, I'm absolutely knocked out.
Yeah.
So now I will make sure that around those 3 days, I am not going to have anything booked in.
Yeah.
Because what's interesting, and I think if you've got an irregular period too, to learn to track with a moon cycle is really, really interesting, and really, because what's happened, and what I didn't realize, that even though my cycle is irregular and it doesn't follow the same pattern in terms of like the bleed or whatever, the stuff is still happening at the same time. So the migraine is still happening, bleed on it, like it's not actually attached to the menstrual cycle. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to use a moon cycle instead. It's another not coincidence that it's 28 days, 29 days as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Honestly, way back when in ancient times, that's how they used to kind of know when they're going to have that period, because it literally ties in. My cycle ties in with the moon as well. And funnily enough, Tara and I, even though we're on opposite sides of the world, somehow roughly have periods at the same time as well, because we spend so much time together, which I didn't know could happen if you weren't in the same place, which is
There
crazy.
needs to be some research about that, because obviously we all know every woman has experienced this, and I've done it with the person. So I've done it with my friend, my closest friend here. Same thing. Like, and we spent some time living together here as well. Like, we were staying with our friends here, and about 3 months ago, our cycle synced up. Totally normal. That always happens with women that you live with or that you spend a lot of time with in physical proximity. And I actually don't know the reason behind it. I don't know if we do know the reason behind it, but anyway, I think there now officially needs to be some research around whether this can happen digitally.
I think I'm gonna, I think that's my next task. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna find out. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. And then it really is. And I specifically remember this because it happened on Christmas Day. Like, and I was like, oh, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to me. And you were like, Merry Christmas to me.
At least we're going through it at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, so tracking.
Tapping into your pelvic floor. Yeah. And then the last one, I think, is 3 things that you can go away. Just watching your stress levels and your blood sugar levels. If you're in a constant stress state, your body is also going to be in a constant stress state, and that is going to reflect in your hormones. And your hormones are also not just a reflection of what's going on now. Your hormones, or your period, your cycle, is a reflection of what's been going on the past 3 months. So if you had a really stressful time 2 months ago, it could be showing up in your period now. If you so our bodies, like, they hold so much information, and if you're in a stress state, that stress is gonna your body's gonna hold on to it, and then when it's got a chance to relax again and it's calm, some of this trauma, stress, whatever it is that your body's been holding on to is going to come out, whether that be in the form of an early period or a late period, or you feeling PMSy or moody. It all ties together. So definitely looking at your stress, and maybe seeing if you can do some more meditating, some breath work. Get into your body and try and connect with it, rather than thinking, oh, I can do X, YZ externally. Try and feel into what you need. And I've really gone into a big what's the word? I'm finding a new love for somatic healing. Do you know what that is?
Very briefly, but I have an idea, but outline it for people. That'd be really cool.
So healing through movement and the healing through your body. So your body is full of energy, basically, and there can be blockages, and there can be if you think about your chakras as well, if there's some blockages there, then your energy is not going to be moving in alignment. And this somatic healing is through EFT tapping. So you're tapping on pressure points, or you're shaking, you're letting go of that energy like that, or dancing, or something to do with movement in the body. And it's amazing. Honestly, it's a part of healing and a part of de-stressing that I've never really done that much before, but I'm really getting into it at the moment, and I love it. Like, it's so good.
I'm up for anything that is going to help me just grab a tissue through dancing.
Yeah,
you know how I feel about that. I love
it's nourishing for the body, honestly. Like, there's no wonder you feel good when you go out and have a dance and you just let go. You let go. Yeah, and just do that in your room.
Yeah, but there's the thing, people feel awkward about it, don't they? Like, I know, like, I have probably once a day, I have a little solo dance party. Like, I love to have a little shake it off and dance. Or for me, actually, it's I got to this from, I was doing some journaling at the end of last year, and I was like, what things have had like the biggest impact on my mood and my productivity, and how like I face a day. And journaling doesn't always have to be some big deep thing. This realization was that every time I listen to music in the shower in the morning, and like along with that might come a big belting sing or a dance. like the day is different for me when that happens.
Yeah.
And like, so it's like even to the point where I always put like we're traveling around, we've got an Alexa that comes with Tom's like, do we really need to be carrying this around everywhere? And I'm like, yeah, because it's so important to my shower. Well, we've got two, and he was like, we only need one. And I was like, no, because I need one in the bathroom, because I need one that I can ask for it to change the song. Like, I need to be able to shout, change the song when I'm in the shower, put the right song on that one. Like, it's a really specific detail that, like, even as a minimalistic digital nomad, is a really important part of my life, because it brings such a different energy to my day. And if I'm feeling a bit meh, like sometimes I will, and I don't know, it's probably because I've got this link now between it happening in the shower and it, so I'll just go for a midday shower, put the music on, have a sing, like enjoy it, and then I could reset my whole day from that, which is insane.
And you've said as well, you're so much more creative when you do that as well. Like you're getting some downloads in the shower from midday dance and shower. It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Okay. That is absolutely wonderful. And if you've got any questions, I always forget to say this at the beginning. I should have said this. If you're watching the replay, first tell us. If you're here live, come and say hello. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments and we will absolutely answer them. Whether they're about women's health, whether they're about meeting strangers on the internet, or whether they are about let's move on. We've got 4 topics. We're halfway through. We're pretty much on time. The other thing I wanted to talk about, which obviously we have to talk about, is freedom lifestyle, right? The thing that probably one of the things that brought us together, this like want to feel free, to live in different places, to travel, to all of those wonderful things. For me, I've told so many people this, I had this realization when I I listened to a wonderful audio. It's like almost like an audio experience rather than a book. It's called the Desire Map Experience by a wonderful woman called Danielle Laporte, and it literally changed my life. And I had this realization that the most important thing to me in the entire world was to feel free. And I've always thought that, but what happened was I tapped into what that actually meant for me, and that was the reason that I, despite for my whole life saying that I would never, ever, ever be self-employed, it was not something that I ever wanted. And I loved my career and I loved, being a corporate woman. I loved that whole thing, to suddenly jacking it all in, deciding I was going to be a digital nomad and start my own business. It happened literally after reading this. This woman's got a lot to answer for, actually. Think about it. But how about you? Like, what does freedom mean to you? Like, how has it played a part in your life so far? Tell people a bit about that for you.
Well, this is why me and you get on so well, because that value is my main value as well. Number one value for me is freedom and independence. And just feeling free. So for me, I grew up with my dad in Germany and my mum in England. So I always grew up going back and forth. I think if you have family in a different country as well, you're naturally traveling a little bit more. My mum's got the travel bug as well. And I just always had it in me. I feel like itchy feet if I'm somewhere too long. And then I moved to Germany. Obviously, I've never really worked for anyone. I've always been self-employed. Both of my parents are self-employed. So it never actually occurred to me to ever work for anyone. I worked for a nursery for like 6 months and I hated it. I hated them telling me what to do. I hated it. So it just naturally that I just do my own thing. And when people question it, like, oh, isn't it scary, or how do you do it yourself? And I don't know. I don't know any other way, to be honest. So, and I need it because, like I said, if I have too many people telling me what to do, that's probably my downfall. I'm not that good at that. But then we saw it when we met in May. That was the first time I'd done like working away. So every time I'd gone on a big travel before that, I'd quit my job, stopped, and just traveled. And May, I was in Barcelona for a month just when we met, and that was like an eye opener for me and both my partner Dennis, because it was so easy. It was so cool. And like we rented our place out back at home. We didn't spend any more money than we normally would, but we were on the beach every evening, out
Nice.
eating tapas and drinking cocktails like nearly every day. Yes, give me more. And,
The tapas.
it was so good. It was so good. And we've traveled a lot since, and we make it work. Like this weekend as well, we've rented our apartment out. We're going to go see my mum for the weekend and then maybe stay somewhere else for the weekend. But you have to have the open mindset for that. I think some people may be scared of it, but try it out. And once you do it, I don't think you'll go back. For some people, it's stress, but this stress makes me feel like alive.
Yeah, and you're right. That there's no right answer for everybody. And like, you know, I actually poo-poo the people who are like, you know, everybody should just quit the jobs and do this, whatever. Like, something's right for you, it's not right for you. Like, I once was part of a conversation which was really interesting to me, because I you know, I have that opinion too, but I'm also like, everyone can do what they want. It's not for everybody. It's too stressful for some people. Like, you know, you do what you want to do. And I was part of a conversation once between friends and family. It's really dishing the dirt here. And I don't know if I've told this before, but I'm going to do it again. My mum always says I'm boiling my cabbages twice. I tend to do that a lot. But go for it anyway. So it was, I think it's at my wedding, and one person said to another person, so there was a conversation about, you know, traveling, going different places. You know, we were doing that at the time. We were in Dubai at the time. And one set of friends who have always lived in my hometown, they've always lived there, they will always live there, they very much enjoy that is their life, they have children, they are near to their family, that's what's important to them. And then another person who is not, and who does a bit of traveling, and but had the mindset of that they wanted to do more and they wanted to go and have the freedom lifestyle and anyway, the comment was like, surely surely it's really closed-minded and, you know, it's small, that you don't want to go and live in other places, and surely you must know that you're missing out, and this person answered so well back. She was like, that's your thing, this is my thing. Like, she wasn't doing it because she was scared, and she was in the place that she wanted to be, knowing, she was like, the thought of packing my suitcases up all the time makes me feel sick. The thought of not being close by to my family, but no thanks, not for me. Like, and I was like, fucking go on. Like, know what you want, whatever it is that you want, know what you want, but don't not do the thing from fear. Do it because it's not the right thing. And I think you're right. Like, trying the things out are so important, and opening your mind a little bit. Like the thing you said about renting out your apartment, because there are, you know, people, I can't do it, it's too expensive. There's so if you want something, there's so many fucking ways to go get it.
100%.
And it's like, oh, well, I can't because then somebody will be in my house, and well, then obviously you don't really want it that much. Or,
but I don't get, when people say that, I'm sorry, it frustrates me a little bit as well, because you go to hotels and there's been people sleeping in those beds. There's been hundreds of thousands of people sleeping in those beds on those pillows, and you're still going in there as well, using those bathrooms. And then they're like, oh no, but it's my house. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But yeah, you make it work. If you want it, you can make it work.
Yeah, you can. And you can get creative. And again, if anybody is thinking about even doing like having longer workations, if you've just started your business maybe and you want to think about, and I know quite a few of my clients and followers are in this position where they're like, I want to actually I want to do a workation. Because for everybody, like my life, I can understand totally how it would turn people's stomachs. I move around like every fucking month. Yeah. Everyone's like, you in another apartment again? Like, where are you? What is wrong with you? And I get that, but there's so many different ways to do it. You do it completely differently. Like, you have your base, and then you go and build. Like, you go and you travel more than most. You work when you travel. Like, there's ways to do it. Find the way that fits. If you have questions about creative ideas of how to make it work, absolutely ask us, because we've done all of the things and trying out all of the different ways. But I think you've also got to be a little bit, you know, you've got to be really, really open to being flexible and open to being a bit more patient and a bit more tolerant and a bit more all of those things if you're going to embark on that lifestyle, because it does require it. And I just did like a 4-part course, which I just, you know what, I hate this phrase, but now I fucking get it as well. Like, I felt totally called to do this course. Like, it was just landed. I was like, it's outside my usual leadership coaching, but I was like, I've spent most of my entire adult life either working as an expat or now as a nomad. I have so much knowledge about taking your life global. Why the fuck have I not shared this with everybody? Honestly. And so I did it, and we spoke about that, like that you've got to be open-minded, you've got to be flexible, and in turn it will teach you to be those things as well. It's like a chicken and egg.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it really tests that's why I like it, because it really tests your limits, your boundaries, you get to learn so much about yourself. And if you, like you say, if you weren't patient before, this will literally give you the kick up the butt to be, okay, you need to learn patience, because if you go to South America and you try and get any shit done and you're a German or where everything works efficiently and the trains come on the dot, on the hour, on the minute, and you go to South America, you will not survive. You will.
I've been waiting for 2 days for a maintenance man was meant to turn up 2 days ago in the morning. He has still not showed up. At this point, I'm like, fuck it. Like, what impact is this? So like, my friend asked me this morning when I came over, he was like, did the maintenance man turn up? I was like, no, and I've forgotten about it. I don't care anymore. I've let it go.
Like, and I bet at the beginning of your trip, you'd be like, oh, he's not here, and I didn't wear it. Well, actually, you're used to it now, but anyone who's gone there new will think, oh my God, they've not turned up. Where are they? And there it's just like, oh, he'll turn up later in the week.
But I'm a different human. Like, honestly, people don't recognize me as a human compared to what I was like when I lived in the UK. And I always knew that I wanted to live abroad, but I hadn't quite realized until I did it, the reason why I always felt like I needed to do it. And I don't fit in the UK. I don't feel like it's my home. And it's weird, right? That is so, so weird. Like, I don't even say I'm going home when I go back to the UK. I say I'm going to the UK. I'm going there go to the UK and Europe for 6 months. I've not been back to the UK for longer than 2 or 3 weeks in maybe 8 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's going to be a fucking massive shock for me. But I've just realized, like, I don't say I'm going home. I'm like, I'm going to the UK, which is weird. I never felt like I fitted in. And I was a really angry, impatient, closed-minded person when I was in the UK, which I am literally the opposite of now.
Yeah.
It is. One thing is, genuinely, a grey sky makes me a miserable fuck.
Yeah. Oh, tell me about
it. It makes me a different person. It impacts my mood. And like, I would used to think that was just, whatever. No, it really is important to me. It makes the feeling of sunshine on my skin, even though when I got here this morning and you were like, how are you? I was like, I'm hot.
I'm hot and I'm sweating and my hair is humid.
But I'd much rather that than a grey sky.
Exactly, I'd much rather that. Yeah.
I'd much rather have a Monica hair than it seems to have got under control now. We're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I was just a different person, and the patience aspects, like I would like quite proudly badge myself as an impatient, like fucking moody, whatever I was. And I'm just not even the same person anymore.
Yeah.
And it's weird because my values are the same, and my, to a certain extent, like, and it's not like I've just got rid of all of my friends and the people. That's not. I've just become a nicer, more patient, more tolerant, just a different person. And I think that's what it is.
I don't think it's that weird, because I literally feel the same. I don't 100% feel like I fit in the UK. I also don't feel like I 100% fit in here in Germany, but this is why me and my boyfriend are very much in the talks of potentially moving somewhere now. And I feel, if you think of like the whole body as energy and the whole world is this energy, if you don't choose where you're born and you don't choose where you are, but if that energy of that area doesn't fit who you are, then, and you go to a different place and you see yourself flourish and thrive and come and be a better person and just feel so fucking good, then
Yeah.
why not move there? Literally that's what I'm like. Yeah.
Also, like, absolutely poo-poo who you think you are as well, right? Because,
Mm,
like, I had this whole identity of who I was, which was
yeah.
clearly not true and didn't actually feel that great. And even to the thing of, and this is the South America move. And actually, when I was in Greece for a while as well, that's where it really came out. I have always been an early bird. I love waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I get so much done then. I'm really productive in those hours.
Yeah.
And that still remains true. But I always thought that I wouldn't be able to adapt. Like, the thought of going out for dinner at 11 o'clock at night, that is ridiculous. Like, absolutely stupid. Who would do that? That's really, I would never be able to adapt to that. Fucking, it took a week.
Yeah.
It took a week before I'm like, are we going for dinner at midnight? What are we doing?
Yeah. You got no choice over there, to be honest.
The restaurant isn't even open. So,
Yeah.
but, like, I don't know. I get up, everyone's like, how are you going to possibly, like, you wake up at 5 o'clock. How are you going to live in Argentina? Nobody's doing anything till 9 o'clock. And you can't even get a coffee before 8 o'clock in the morning here. Like, no way, it's not open. How are you going to deal with it? And I was just like, just fucking deal with it. Like, and now I'm like, what's really interesting is that this suits me better. Like, this suits me.
It's interesting that you actually say it suits you better.
Yeah, it's insane. But this is, but this is my point. Like, don't get so fucking hung up on who you think you are.
Yeah.
Like, people think they are somebody, but they don't know what the other thing could be.
Yeah.
So, like, now, even if I'm not going out, like, I don't go to bed before midnight now, like, which is insane. And I get up at like 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, which is way later than I ever have my entire life.
Yeah.
I feel like I get so much more out of a day. And I used to think that when it was the other way around. But here's the thing with me, I think. Presence. And when people say to me, where's your favorite place you've ever been? My answer is always here. It's here. It's where I am right now. Because I live in this, like, I am so present that how can the other things be my favorite? Because they're not happening now. And if your focus is on how fucking wonderful everything is now, how can now not be the best time?
Yeah, that's true.
Or the best place.
Yeah.
And it's a weird, because even if I do think about things, that place was good and that place was good, but the answer
what
is
about if you're in the UK? How do you feel that?
We're going to see in this. My point. This is what happened as a result when I first started traveling. Nobody asked me where my favorite place was when I used to live in the UK because I'd only been there. But that's what's going to be really, really interesting to see whether that. And when we're in the UK, like, we're actually traveling. Like, I say this to so many people. My maiden name is McDougall, and I've never been to fucking Scotland, which is traveled the whole world. I've traveled the whole world, and I haven't even been to Scotland. And people can't. Like, when I meet people in other countries, they're like, "What? I'm like, just don't." It's weird. It's a weird thing in the UK, isn't it? Like, people don't travel around the UK.
No one does it. We all fly. Whenever we go on holiday, we all fly. I think it was weird because the first time I moved to Germany, and obviously here you can drive everywhere. And we drove everywhere on holiday, and it was weird to me because most people I think, do you know what? Because most people want the sun. If you go to Scotland, it's not going to be very warm and sunny up there.
I think there is that, but for me, like, and this was part of that program that I just did as well, like, the beauty that is on your front door, like, don't miss that. Like, I'm now going back to enjoy that, because I just didn't enjoy it when I was there, but it is there on your front door as well. Like, don't miss out on all the good stuff that's on the front door. Like, that's where you can start. Like, you can have amazing adventures of place that doesn't have to be far. The adventure is what you make of it when you do that. And I have a couple of people in my audience who kind of start in the freedom lifestyle, but they still want to do it in the UK. And they're like, actually, I want to go and stay. I saw somebody recently doing a UK cottage nomad, they call them, and they were just going around the UK, staying in beautiful cottages.
I love it.
Oh, that's delicious. That is absolutely delicious.
I'm really glad you said that, actually, because I recently also just been thinking about, I want to get away because it's cold here and wet. And we're like literally right on the doorstep of the mountains. And I said this last year, and we didn't go as much as we should have. And okay. It is my goal now to go to the mountains more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Take what's on your doorstep.
Yeah.
Right. Freedom lifestyle. I think we've covered freedom. I think we've covered freedom to the, it's super important. Go be free, everybody.
Yeah.
All right. The last thing that I wanted to talk about, and we touched on it at the beginning, was the birth of Vida Femme. So for those of you who don't know, Vida Femme is Jess and I's brainchild, our seedling business that is coming out to the world right now. And when we put our heads together about what it is that we could bring to somebody that would be useful, everybody that could be useful, how we could bring our skill sets together, and what it is that how we could actually make something powerful and useful out of the relationship that had just so quickly flourished. Both of us work with women, and both of us work with women who want to achieve incredible things generally. Like that, they're the kind of women that we work with. And what we realized is they're never just looking for one thing. They're never just looking to nail their career, but have their health go down to the fucking gutter. But that's usually what happens. Yeah. They're never looking to just be fit, and they don't give two hoots about whether their business is performing or whether they're, doing well at work. They want it all. There is, we're those people, right? We are the women who want it all and want to have it all. And for us, we said this as well, we're coach guzzlers. We invest heavily in many, many different coaches for different things. We're like, well, what if we could bring like at least most of it together? Because between us, we cover most of it, right? We cover fitness, nutrition, mindset, health, hormones, leadership, career, business, lifestyle, travel. Like there's not much left, right? There's that we're missing out.
The whole shebang.
Yeah, how can we like help somebody unlock the whole lot in one place? Mm-hmm. And so we've started. We are, like I say, at the beginning of our journey of how we can support women doing that. But I'm super excited about it. Mm-hmm. And I think doing things holistically, like I say, we've seen how important it is to bring all of the elements together, doing it holistically. And I'm not seeing anybody else in the industry doing it. Like, we are trailblazers, pioneers, all of that jazz. What is it? What are you? And for me, actually, the thing that excites me as well is not just the concept of it. Working with somebody else. I love entrepreneurship, but entrepreneurship with somebody else is banging.
Yeah.
It's so much better.
Yeah, 100%. I also said that. I think I love self-employment, but the one downside that I've always found to it is that it can be lonely. And for the past half year, I think it's nearly half a year now, 3/4 of a year that we've known each other. It's been fun. Like, we talk to each other nearly every day. Yeah. And we not just that, but we support each other in so many different areas. Like you said, we both coach each other. And I think that's what we wanted to also bring to the table for Vida Femme as well, because in some areas of life, you may feel a little bit stuck or lost. And it's really nice to have someone to understand you and to hold you for that area, to be able to give you space for that and for you to find your way. And I think we're constantly working on ourselves and doing that. But I think that's what's so fun about it. We just kind of want to bring you on into the same space that we've got. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think, like, that's the thing. You just said we're constantly working on each other. I have so many people say to me, "Oh, you're so lucky. Look, I'd love to have your life." Yeah. I'm like, all right then, get your fucking ass in gear and do the shit that I do, and then you can have my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you get that a lot?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you're so lucky. And it's like, but we do so many things every single day to support what we're doing. It's not like we just clicked our fingers, or like we just had the money to be able to do it. We've worked hard for this, and like and it's not without difficulties. Like, seriously, it's not.
Looking at WhatsApp messages. It's really up and down.
Yeah, literally. And I think I think that's what a lot of people don't see. I think that's why I try and be transparent about it on Instagram, but it's still not an accurate representation of the ups and downs of self-employment, which is amazing, by the way. You have to be able to deal with the emotions. It's a roller coaster. It's nothing. It's it's an insane roller coaster. But but if you have like some people around you to support you, and they're in a similar boat, it makes it half as bad. It's fun.
Don't do it alone. Actually fun. That is it. It's made it so much more fun. Like that for me. And you know, I think that may be my word of March, actually. Like other things do, like February for me was strategic and I've really nailed it. I think fun might be my word for March, because there's no point in doing any of these things if they're not fun.
Yeah.
Like, you know, especially if you say you've always been self-employed, but if you've moved from the corporate space to owning your own business and it's not fun and you're working more than you ever were, like, that's not why you did it. You didn't do it for that. Like, are you really doing it the way that you wanted to do it? I think that's really important. And there's going to be so many exciting things coming up for Vida Femme in the next couple of months, and we have a whole session tomorrow together to really get some exciting things in motion. So if the best thing is, if you aren't following our Vida Femme movement, because that's what it is, it's a fucking movement. We're over on Instagram. So if you search for, it's _Vida Femme _, you will find us there. And we also have a Facebook group. So if you search Vida Femme on Facebook, you can come and join. We've got a free online community of amazing women where we're going to be dropping free training and all sorts of stuff to just, you know, like I say, bring all of those things together, a bit more fun, a bit more accountability, a bit more empowerment, a bit more all of the good stuff.
Yeah. Just give you that little boost in the day. I think that's also a big part of it. And there's also already a really good group of ladies in there who have taken part in some of the stuff we've done, and it's been really fun, really good. Actually, we need to do a check-in for the last masterclass that we did, or workshop that we did. So that'll be fun.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. I like doing this at the end and putting people on the spot. I did it last week, and I've decided it's just a thing that I'm going to do now. Some kind of, and I've not even thought about it myself, so it's going to be a surprise to me when it comes out too. All right. Actually, maybe I'll ask the same question that I asked last week, but that was from a client perspective. But I got a really good question on the LinkedIn Live last week about, you know, would you recommend working with a friend, or like going into business with a friend? And so I think we've nailed, yes, we would. We think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be self-indulgent as it's Tara time. What's your favorite thing about working with me as a business partner?
I think it's the energy. We both have very different energies in a way. We both have very different strengths. And I've learned so much from you in the past. The same way you said you learned so much from me, I've learned so much from you in the past. However long we've been working together. And you're such a fast worker. You're such a it's insane. You get shit done. Like, if you want anyone to get shit done, come to Tara, because she's amazing. And I think she's very good at the logical, at the planning, at the strategic. Oh my God, she's so good at that. And I'm more in my head with the flowiness, I don't know if it's even creative. I'm more sort of just going with the flow, and she's got it down. So I think I've learned a lot from you in that respect. Is like, we can more strategy, more planning, the energy you've got as well. Both of us, we bounce it off each other. If one of us are having a shit day, the other one brings it a little bit more. And I think that's what's worked so well from the beginning. There's never been any questions asked or arguments or anything. It's like, it's fine, I'll do it then. Like, it's just worked out. And I think that's why we complement each other so well. So that's what I love, probably your energy and just your ability to I don't know what to call it. This thing, whatever we have going on. I love it.
that is going to be amplified because we are actually, so Jess and I have never met in person.
Yeah.
I think maybe the universe will explode when we do. That's the only thing that I think could happen. So everybody watch out in September or October, end of September.
August.
Well, we'll meet before then, yeah. Oh yeah, we will. Yeah,
okay.
We'll be in August. Yeah, we'll be in the UK in August and then in Munich. Oh, we're gonna see each other twice in real life. Very exciting. Yeah, very, very exciting. So I can't wait for that. I can't wait to see that you're an actual real person.
Yeah, same.
Like an actual real person and not just a stranger on the internet.
Yeah,
and I think isn't it nuts, right? Isn't it nuts that in this day and age you can go, fuck it, I just met somebody on the internet, let's start a business together, let's fucking do it.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. My boyfriend still thinks I'm a weirdo because he's not used to meeting people on the internet. I've done it for years, like just just in Facebook groups and stuff. I'm very open like that. That's how I've met new people, traveling, whatever. And he just always thinks of me. He's like, "Who are you talking to?" And another new person. But even just me and Tara as well, like just the fact that we've got so close as well, and we've never met, but we
weird,
talk
isn't it?
today. It's so funny. I love it.
Yeah. Well, it's also nice when you meet somebody who gets really deep really quick, because that's how I function as well. It's like when it's the right person, it is like that. Well, we'll miss out the fluffy section and we'll just go and start business together.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck it, why not?
What's the point in waiting and like putting things off? And for me, the indecision, like, what does that get you?
Yeah. And I think that's why we work so well together as well, because we're both very much like, fuck it, why not? Let's just do it. Let's just do it. And I think that's what drives you forward, what moves you forward, what gets you growing, learning, seeing if it works, seeing if it doesn't. And I think we're both very open to that. So yeah.
And but also, you know, don't be fooled by the level of positivity and our go-getting attitude. Sometimes in our WhatsApp conversations, the result is, and it's we have a bad day motto of nothing fucking matters, doesn't fucking matter. Nothing matters.
That was our motto for a little while, wasn't it?
Nothing matters.
Nothing fucking matters.
So go meet strangers on the internet. That is my top piece of advice. And I think, just to return the favor, because it's important, like for me, working with you I thought my mind was open. It is way more open now than it ever has been. So that is like, for me, to have my mind continually opened, and to be around somebody who I can continually learn new things in a way that is, and I've entered I don't even know what to explain, like this world, like the world of more holistic and alternative ways of working very, very recently. And there's many approaches. There's a shove it down your face approach, which doesn't work with somebody like me.
Yeah.
And so I think that the like introducing it in a way that I actually can understand and can use it is banging.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. I love it. We both help each other in that respect. So yeah.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
So much fun.
Loved it.
And I will see you tomorrow for our Vida Femme meeting. And we will speak every day as we continue to do.
I'll see you later.
See you later. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to hit like, subscribe to my channel so you never miss an episode, and leave a comment below. If you enjoyed this episode, remember